Hey, it's been a while. Thought I would do a bit of an update and give you the little bits and pieces of information that we've gotten in the last little while and check in. So, we went for our what the fuck appointment, as we call it in the biz. And we hate our clinic, as you might remember from previous videos. We've mentioned it once or twice. We went for our visit, and so we go in and we meet with a resident. So at this point, we've spent like a grand total of 11 minutes with our RE throughout our entire cycle, start to finish. And we really thought that this was going to be a meeting with our doctor to discuss what happened and what comes next and what the plan is. And we get there and we meet with a resident, which is fine. She was actually 10 times more helpful than the doctor was. But it's just one of those things where it's like, we're paying you $1 billion. We've spoken to you for a grand total of 7 minutes. You won't take our phone calls. You won't respond to us. And now you won't even meet with us when our entire cycle is a bust. We don't even get any embryos to freeze. We don't even have anything to go back to. We get one egg, one embryo, and we're toast. And it doesn't implant. And we don't even get a conversation. Like, that's awesome. So we met with the resident. She was great. And she explained to us that having a 75% multi-nucleated cell embryos, so having 3 out of 4 of our embryos being multi-nucleated cells, is really statistically an anomaly. Like, it's bizarre, and they don't see this very often, if at all, and they can't explain it, and they don't know what's happening. So what they said is, sort of to the best of their ability, given that they're still getting to know us, like this was only our first cycle, what they said is, it could be the drugs. It could be the amount of drugs they had to give us, because I'm a low responder, because I'm down to 1 ovary that they can reach for retrieval. They've really got to stim the crap out of me. So just purely the dosage of gonal and Luveris could be an issue. Or it could be that I have crummy eggs. That's an option too. Or it could be a fluke. We could do it again and I could have no multinucleated eggs and we'll all go, well, that's weird. I wonder why that happened. But we really won't know until we try another couple of cycles. So what we said was, okay, that's good, interesting information. We have financially, we can either, here's, it's like I hate that this stuff is made up of finances, right? Like, what an unfortunate way to decide how your family will be made based on what your bank account says. But we can either do 1 cycle with donor eggs, we can do 4 or 5 cycles with my eggs, or we can adopt in the near future. Those are essentially the choices. If we go forward with either of the IVF options and they don't work, we're going to need some time to pay back that money, save some more, and then get into adoption land. The thing that freaks me out about that is that a lot of the agencies that we've looked at, and we're just at the beginning of looking at these pieces, but from what I can see, a lot of them want you to have a collective age of under 72. Ian and I are 67 combined right now. Every year you add 2 years. So let's say it takes at least another year to go through whatever cycles we want to do, if not more. Then we're 69, and then we take some time to save, and then we've got to start the process and do home studies and courses and classes. Like, what if we miss the window for everything? Don't get me wrong, I'm stoked about getting this puppy, but this is not it. This is not the dream. So we're trying to figure that out. What they told us was that they think they want to still give my eggs a go, which is really, obviously that's ideal, so we're pretty happy about that. So they want to do a microflare protocol. Last time, for my first cycle, originally they wanted to do a really, really slow burn with Lupron. So like 3 months of Lupron straight into stims. They decided, because my AMH is so low, not to oversuppress my ovaries, because that's a nightmare. So they went with, I was already on BCP, so keep on with that, and then go straight into stims, no Lupron. So what they decided to do is microflare, so start Lupron before stims, a few days, continue the Lupron into stims, use it as the agonist, use it, excuse me, use it like where you'd have your Cetrotide or your Orgalutron, Ganirelix, instead of that, continue through with the Lupron and see if that makes any difference and see if that has an effect on how many eggs we produce and the quality. So interesting to hear. We have the appointment on the 15th with the clinic in Toronto with the reproductive immunologist. Certainly before I try to put any healthy embryos back in, I definitely want to have that appointment and find out if there's any immunological factors at play here. I think we'll probably wait. Like what we could do is do another stim cycle. If we get any embryos, freeze them, do the reproductive immunologist, see if there's any immunology at play. If there is or isn't, put them in or don't accordingly. But I also want the second opinion on whether or not our clinic is doing the right stuff, because if they're not, if there's another option stim-wise, and I don't know if there is, but I'd like to know that there isn't before we move forward and spend the money and put ourselves through it. So that's the plan, June 15th. That's the day. So we'll do that. I've spoken to a couple people. I've run into a couple people that have sent messages saying they've seen Dr. Laskin and that he's pretty awesome. So thank you for that. It's nice to know that people are seeing him and liking him and that he seems like a nice guy. I went to an event last night. It was a 50th birthday party for a colleague. And I ran into a woman that I hadn't seen in a million years. And she's a friend of my parents, and a family friend, a friend of everybody, but my parents' friend. And she was saying that she had been through it, and that she had done IVF and fertility treatments in, I guess, like the late 90s, early 2000s. And it was really interesting. They don't have kids. They have dogs. And so, it was a really interesting conversation, because right now, when you're in it, when you're in the middle of it, the idea of not having children, the idea of the end game being not a family with children in it, is horrible and devastating. It's a nightmare. Like, I think about it and it makes me sad, and it feels unfulfilled and empty and crappy and whatever. But it was kind of a really nice reminder that maybe it feels that way because we're in the middle of actively trying so hard to have a family, like maybe, just maybe, there's light at the end of that tunnel, even if it doesn't work, even if it isn't meant to be for us. And I hate that. I hate saying that out loud. It doesn't make me particularly happy. It's not what I want, but there is something valuable in that. There is something valuable in acknowledging that life will in fact continue. We will in fact continue. We'll be okay. We'll continue existing and being happy and being not happy and being whatever we are in those moments. But, if it doesn't work, life doesn't stop. If it doesn't work, we don't, this isn't, it feels like it. It feels like it in the moment, but it's not the only thing. It's not the only way. So in a weird way, it was oddly comforting. Anyway, that's the scoop. I'm sorry we've been gone. It's been crazy. I'm a little bit busy at work. We'll do a little bit better with videoing, making videos. We'll be better with making videos. But if you're cycling, I hope you're cycling well. I hope it's good. I hope it's fruitful and you have all of the non-multinucleated embryos in the land. And if you know things about multinucleated embryos, and if you know things that have improved your egg quality that have worked for you, I would be very, very interested to hear them. Anyway, hope everybody is good.